Samsung Galaxy S20 FE display assembly replacement. Heat up the back cover with a heat gun. Slide a thin plastic tool between the back cover and mid-frame to work the adhesive loose. Work around the whole frame to release the back cover. Be careful when using the opening pick on the right side, as the WLAN antenna cable is close to the edge of the frame and can be damaged easily. Remove the 9 screws holding the antenna module in place, but do not try to remove the module itself yet. Remove the 7 screws holding the lower portion of the plastic protective cover in place on the bottom of the phone. Remove dummy antenna. Remove the 2 screws holding this part in place. On the S20 FE this looks like a space filler for the frame and doesn't appear to have any function. On the S20 Ultra, this piece is an actual antenna. Don't forget to remove SIM tray holder. Insert a thin pry tool in the side of the lower plastic cover to release it. Insert a thin tool in the side of the antenna module to loosen it, but do not pull it off yet. Disconnect the battery and the main flex cable. Use a spudger to remove the connectors for the display, fingerprint sensor and main subboard. The fingerprint sensor can be pried from the side to release it and remove it. Remove the retaining screw for the subboard. Use a spudger to pry the subboard loose. Once loose, pry the cables up to release them from the channel going up the side of the frame. Once the board and cables are loosened, the mainboard, subboard and cables can all be removed together. Use isopropyl alcohol to loosen the adhesive holding the battery in place. Carefully pry up the battery and be sure not to puncture the battery. Work slowly and reheat the front side if the adhesive does not feel as if it is coming loose. Work along the side of the battery and eventually it will start to come loose. Once one side is free, you can do the same on the other side and should be able to lift the battery up and out. Prepare the new LCD frame assembly and transfer all the necessary small parts from the broken frame to the new one. This video tutorial is to replace the screen assembly for the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE. The display glass, OLED panel, and digitizer comprise the screen assembly and will need to be replaced together. Some replacement screens for this phone come pre-installed in a new frame, aka chassis, which requires you to transplant all of your phone's internals and install a new battery. Make sure you have the correct part before starting this procedure. There is a significant chance that you may break the unreinforced and fragile display panel during this procedure. If you plan on reusing the screen assembly, be sure to apply plenty of heat and be extremely careful during the prying stage. You'll need replacement adhesive in order to complete this repair. The Samsung Galaxy S20 FE phone was launched in September 2020 as a budget-friendly version of the popular Galaxy S20. It has a slightly larger display and battery, but a less advanced camera setup, plastic back, and a less powerful processor. The FE stands for Fan Edition, and the phone is aimed at photographers, gamers, and everyday users. The Galaxy S20 FE has rounded edges and looks extremely similar to the flagship Galaxy S20 phone. It has 3 rear-facing cameras and 1 front-facing camera. The phone has 6 different color options: Cloud Navy, Cloud Lavender, Cloud Mint, Cloud Red, Cloud Orange, and Cloud White. To reassemble the phone, repeat the steps in reverse order. Test the phone.
One of those is the high-end chipset, and that's a good point to clarify that not all FEs are the same. There is a 5G capable version and an LTE capped one. The 4G only model follows the usual regional differentiation, with some parts of the world getting the Exynos 990 while others have their FEs equipped with the Snapdragon 865. On the other hand, the 5G model is Snapdragon only this time, regardless of locale. It's this version that we are reviewing, though we may be dropping the 5G when referring to the phone for the remainder of this review. Placed in between the S20 and S20 Plus in terms of screen size, the Fan Edition packs a 6.5-inch Super AMOLED display. This one's not HDR10 Plus compliant and has a full HD resolution next to its QHD brethren, but Samsung did keep the 120Hz refresh rate. As part of the tree set of cameras on the FE, it gets to keep the S20's main big sensor 12-megapixel shooter. The ultra-wide-angle cam takes 12-megapixel shots too, but from a smaller imager than on the non-fan editions. And the telephoto is different too. Fans will be shooting with an 8-megapixels almost 3x zoom unit, as opposed to the slightly odd 64-megapixels non-tele setup on the S20 and S20 Plus. Meanwhile, the selfie camera on the FE is a 32-megapixels tetracell unit, which may sound like an upgrade compared to the 10-megapixels modules of the S20 and S20 Plus, but there's more to that as you go deeper. Make sure it is charging and the touch screen is working phone. The Fan Edition has thicker bezels all around, and we all know nothing says premium quite as loud as minimal bezels. It's not like the black frame around the display is overly thick. It's just that it's not as a flagship grade as on the other S20s. The Galaxy S20 FE has a distinctly Samsung looks, thanks to the central punch hole in the display and the camera arrangement on the back. Despite the obvious brand affiliation, the Fan Edition doesn't quite accomplish an S-series impression. It gives off more of an vibe. Another mark of a high-end phone, particularly in Samsung's world, is a curved screen. While they have been reducing the effect on recent models, the S20 phones still have a millimeter of a sloped edge on the sides. Well, the FE is entirely flat. Perhaps the one most notable difference in the build quality of the Fan Edition compared to the other S20s is the material used for the back. Where the S20 and S20 Plus used glass, the S20 FE rear panel is plastic. It's got a satin finish, and it's about as slippery as they come. While it rarely looks pristine, it's certainly miles better than a glossy glass panel when it comes to accumulating fingerprints. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tutorial videos. Shout out to Bored Vlogger and to all my loyal viewers. See you next time.